in the world today, Callum Smith. But before that, we got so many great fights to bring you as two gentlemen join us up here now. Luis Valdez and Mark Castro. Gentlemen, if you want to come up and join us here, thank you very much. A great undercard here and a great week it's been on DAZN. Of course, last weekend we got to see the unified heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua defend his titles against Kubrat Pulev. And tonight we're also in Milan for our DAZN Italy shows. And tomorrow night, Gennady Golovkin will fight Zeremeta for the IBO and IBF World Middleweight Championships before we finish the year in tremendous style with Canelo Álvarez. Firstly, we talk about the fight between Mark Castro and Luis Valdez. Welcome, gentlemen. This man to my right, I cannot believe we're finally here. Has this been the most frustrating period of any fighter? This young man turned professional. We announced his professional debut for April. You turned pro. We had the big press conference at the Jesse Vargas fight. All of a sudden, the pandemic hit. All of a sudden, you got COVID. All of a sudden, you got injured. But here we go, Canelo Álvarez card, ready to go. Your professional debut, Mark Castro.
Honestly, Eddie, I feel like it was meant to happen like this. It was meant to be written like this. Big stage, big debut, and I hope to make a big statement Saturday night.
How have you remained positive? Because, you know, I've sort of sent you a couple of messages during this, but I'll just kept thinking to myself, at what point do you turn around and you say, you know, this is just too much bad luck?
Honestly, I try to stay positive the whole way. I don't look at it as bad luck. I just, every day, way to improve in anything in life. And just, this year's been tough for all of us, and I just feel like close it off good with a good note.
I know you wanted to originally potentially make your debut on the Cinco de Mayo card on the Canelo Álvarez fight. You do end up making your debut in front of what will be 12,000 people at the Alamo Dome. Huge opportunity and a huge platform for you to make a big statement on Saturday.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it was written like this. And when the opportunity came up, I was like, I want to fight on that card. Let's do it.
Luis Valdez, welcome, and your translator here as well, with us, I believe, as well. We know plenty about you, very, very tough. You're up against a very good fighter here in Mark Castro. Are you ready to go?
¿Estás listo para pelear? Tienes un oponente bastante difícil.
Primero que nada, buenas tardes. Muchas gracias por darme la oportunidad de pelear aquí con Eddie Hearn en Mushroom. Pues sí, vengo bien preparado, vengo subiendo de división a la super pluma y pues vengo a dar lo mejor, a brindar un buen espectáculo más que nada.
First of all, good afternoon. I'm really happy to be here, really happy to be on this card with Matchroom, with Eddie Hearn. I'm going up to super featherweight, and I'm ready to give a good show.
Obviously, being Mexican, this is a big show for you, big opportunity. You're going to have a lot of support there in the arena yourself.
Vas a tener mucho apoyo, siendo que también eres mexicano, ¿lo sientes?
Sí, pues sí, estar aquí en la cartelera de Canelo Smith, pues me da una gran motivación de representar a México una vez más, aquí en Estados Unidos.
Yeah, being on this card, Canelo Smith, it gives me a good opportunity to represent Mexico.
Thank you. And finally, Mark, a lot of people have been talking about you for a long, long time. A lot of people have been talking about your professional debut. Gets underway finally on Saturday. What should the fans live on DAZN expect from Mark Castro moving forward?
Honestly, just expect a fighter, old school fighter, just come do my job and just don't talk much and just do my job in the ring.
Well, we can't wait to see your professional debut finally. Castro against Valdez. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head up here, please.
Big signing for Matchroom Boxing with Mark Castro. As you know, he has a spectacular amateur career at 177 wins, 7 losses. tell me about what you think about him.
No, much awaited pro debut. I mean, this kid is an excellent fighter, excellent pedigree, but he's had some bad luck with, like Eddie Hearn just finished mentioning, the COVID, the injuries, everything, the postponements. But this is destiny, and this is boxing, and I love his attitude. I love the fact that he said, that's what it was meant to be. It was the best thing that happened to him, and that's the way you have to think in boxing, because you're going to get a lot of punches thrown at you outside the ring, and you got to adapt, and you got to keep fighting.
I found it interesting because Mark has actually mentioned before that he really didn't plan to become a boxer. It was something his father wanted him to do, but he ultimately ended up being a boxer because he couldn't become a football player or a basketball player because he didn't make the height requirements.
Well, destiny intervened there again. He's not tall enough to be a basketball player. Matter of fact, none of us really plan to be a fighter. We kind of just, we gravitate towards it, or we need an outlet or something. But none of us grow up saying, hey, I want to get punched in the face for a living.
But what was your moment, though?
I needed to graduate high school, but let's not talk about me. We're talking about Mark Castro, who's an excellent fighter.
Your moment
where
what made you want to be a fighter?
I just told you I needed to graduate
okay.
high school. I needed credits, and that's why I decided to get punched in the face for a living. Michelle?
Yeah. Well, we just wrapped up the interview with Demetrius Andrade, and it's exciting times to think that we could possibly get the fight with him and Billy Joe Saunders. What do you think of that fight? Can you say who you favor?
No, because they're both champions. They're both undefeated. They're both southpaws. Southpaws hate fighting other southpaws, and I think that's another reason they're not really interested in fighting. But Andrade, I love the fact that he's calling people out now. Yeah. We know that before he said, "No, I'm just gonna fight who they put in front of me." That's not what he has to do now. He's the champ. He's undefeated. He needs to make a case for himself, and that's exactly what he's doing to get the attention from champions like Billy Joe Saunders.
Well, we're going to go ahead and pass it on to Eddie Hearn.
Thank you, guys. Back again. Great fight here. Ray Ford back in the ring. And this, for me, don't want to embarrass you, Ray Ford, but you are becoming one of my favorite young prospects. You step up, you fight anybody at any time. This time against Lopez. Tough fight for you. Big step up here on Saturday night. You ready? You ready for this? You took the call at late notice, but as you always say on your social media, you stay ready.
Stay ready. It's been actually, this is not the first opponent that we had. We had 3 undefeated guys, a 5-0, 10-0, and a 26-0, and I guess none of them took the fight. So Saturday night, we're gonna show y'all why they didn't take the fight.
I've seen from you, your style really changed since you've come through the amateur system. We know earlier on, you like to box and move. Now you've been sitting down on your punches. You've been working hard in the gyms, great sparring with Teofimo Lopez and Shakur and these kind of level fighters now. You feel that you're on that level yourself as well?
Most definitely. The only thing with me is just getting the experience. I'm new in the pro game, so the more fights I get, the more recognition I'm going to get, and pretty soon I'm going to be on that level, and a lot of people are going to start putting me in the conversation with those other top athletes.
You see that when you turn pro, there's a lot of noise about a lot of fighters. But you are definitely the one now that's willing to step up and move quicker than all those other guys, your US teammates that you turned pro with. Is that a decision that you've made to get yourself recognized and to sort of jump away from that pack?
Most definitely, and I feel like I'm a special fighter, and I feel like the skills that I possess in the ring, not many people can deal with it. And as far as, I looked at my division in the weight class and the world champions that's here, I feel like they can't do nothing with me as well. So pretty soon, everybody will see that.
Well, welcome. Big fight for you on Saturday on the Canelo undercard as well. Facing a top young prospect, but this is a big step up for him against you on Saturday night.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me. I think, like you said it, I know he's a top prospect, but I definitely feel like this is my show to win. This is my show. It's in my backyard, in front of my people. Canelo being the biggest name in boxing, me being Mexican. I know what the business is. I know there's an A side and B side, but this is definitely my fight to win. And regardless of me taking this short notice or not, I'm gonna come in and show everybody why I belong here, why I earned to be here.
How big would that win be for you, like on this undercard, in front of your people here as well, against a top prospect on DAZN? Be a massive moment for your career. Could be life changing.
Oh, of course, you know, and I feel comfortable being up here with you guys. I feel comfortable being on the show because I know the stakes. I know that where it could potentially get me, and these opportunities that you can't pass up. So I'm ready to go in there and take it.
Ray, finally, looking forward to this one. This young man talks a good game. He's here with his people. He's here coming to win. This is so exciting, isn't it, now? It's kind of like the stabilizers are off. You're ready to go.
Of course, I respect his energy. To what it seems like he's going to come to fight, and that's what we want. We don't want any easy fights. And moving forward, after I get him out the way, y'all can keep stepping up in competition with me because I don't need to be baby. I got the skills, so I'm ready for anybody.
Stuff. One of the best young prospects in boxing. Ray Ford takes the big step up on Saturday night. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head here, please.
Ford, Lopez, two southpaws, two young guys, hungry. Tell me a bit about, or we actually got Eddie Hearn joining us just now. We'll just let Eddie do all the talking.
Yeah, just
He's
leave it
a
at
great
Eddie.
talker. Join us, Eddie.
This is very fiddly. People are coming in from all angles.
I know. Let's talk a bit about this fight.
Ray Ford, for me, was part of the initial team that we had when we launched the zone. You know, one of our big ambitions was to go out and sign the top prospects coming through from US boxing. We did that, and now they kind of get to a level where it's almost approaching sink or swim time. And I think that's so exciting because you get to find out who can crack it in this game, who has the minerals in this game, and who are the ones that just signed a big deal with us initially and haven't managed to make the progress. You know, you've seen great fighters. Reshat Mati boxes tomorrow night. You've seen Nikita Ababi, sometimes hot and cold. Mark Castro is an outstanding young talent. But Ray Ford, for me, is the one that's coming through on the blind side. Earlier on, his performances, it's a bit like Danny Aryalusinov. You know, you watched him earlier on, very amateur style, and, you know, didn't look like he punched that hard. All of a sudden, started to understand what the professional game was about. Started fighting in a pocket a lot more, started sitting down on his punches a lot more. And Ray Ford has just been working in the gym. And, you know, we had Julio Cesar Martinez. Unfortunately, he wasn't available to fight in this fight. We started to look at other fights. And Ray Ford went, look, I'll fight anyone. Step me up over 8 rounds, 10 rounds. It doesn't matter. We found this opponent who's very good, very dangerous. He's a local guy. We know he's going to have a lot of support here as well. And Ray was like, I'm ready.
That's why they call that man the Savage.
I know, but he's been sparring with Teofimo. He's been sparring with Shakur Stevenson. He mixes his with all that guys. This, for me, could be a real dark horse of the young fighters that turn pro with Matchroom. I really believe this guy has the pedigree. I think he has the style. He's starting to become a lot more exciting now as well. And, you know, I'm excited to see his progress.
Well, we got William and Jones next. So we're going to go ahead and send you on back
Your
to...
Your talent is needed elsewhere, Eddie.
We appreciate your time, Ed. Ammo making his way to the stage right now.
Ammo Williams, love that nickname.
I know.
From one bad southpaw to another.
With the main man from Texas, Ammo Williams. Williams against Jones here, and another big step up for one of our amateur stars. Ammo, you've been blazing up my social media for the opportunity. Some people haven't been boxing that much during the pandemic. You boxed in Mexico. Now you get a chance on a huge card. You look happy to be here.
Man, I'm more than happy to be here. I'm extremely excited to be here, and I'm super excited to show my veteran in being here. Like fighting in Madison Square Garden with a crowd, O2 with a crowd, my Dallas fight with a crowd. I'm used to this now, you know, and I'm being groomed into really being a champion. I get to show how much poise I have in a situation like this. I get to show how much poise I have on a card like this and how much growth I really made, especially in the gym. As everybody knows, I'm super young in the sport, and I just get to show the leaps that I've made. I get to show how much mentally stronger I've become in the ring, especially weathering that 10-month storm. So I'm very excited. I'm extremely happy to be here.
When you look at that growth, you know, we know you've been stepping up the opponents, and on Saturday you have your first big step up, really. But when you talk about that traveling, those experiences, you know, the O2 Arena, even your last fight in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, all of those are really vital for a young fighter trying to reach the next stage of his career.
Yeah. All of the experience I have combined into making me who I am today. And like we got in Isaiah, we got an opponent that has double the amount of fights as me. Again, the last guy I fought in Mexico, he had 31 fights. I fought him at 5-0, and I also fought him at 7,000 plus elevation coming from Houston. You know, that's sea level, and that just made me fight a completely different style. I had to show, you know, that I really understand how fighting and combat works. I couldn't step on the gas like you guys normally see me. I had to be a lot more, you know, strategic in that fight. I had to pick my spots a lot better. I had to take my rest when it was time to take my rest. I had to keep my heart rate lower. And all of these experiences that I'm having are grooming me to be a world champion. And again, it's grooming me to be a world champion pretty fast, or at least to get those opportunities pretty fast, because I'm the guy that is always going to step up. This is nothing new for me. Ever since I began, I've been a guy who people kind of said, like, slow down a bit, kid, slow down a bit, kid. But, you know, for me, having challenges, you know, having a 9-3 that never been stopped in front of me is exciting for me. And it's another challenge. It's another opportunity for me to show the world that I am the best.
Isaiah, welcome. This is a big step up for Ammo Williams. You ready to go? Massive opportunity, massive stage, huge card. You look excited. I can see it in your eyes.
Well, I'm real excited to fight Elmo. He's a really good fighter. You know, as I'm watching some of his footage, I could tell that he likes to come forward. So he definitely got a bull that's going to go there and go to the fences with him. I'm just excited to you know, be here and show my talent as well, and have the opportunity to even, you know, fight a guy that, you know, as Elmo, you know.
A lot of these young prospects coming through the US scene, they do get big opportunities. You know, he's boxed all over the world as well. We know those opportunities haven't come for fighters that didn't have a stellar amateur career and didn't go to the Olympics and stuff like that. But this is a big moment for you in your career, and a victory on Saturday could be life-changing for you.
A victory on Saturday could be a good big life changer, and I'm really ready for that. And I'm, like I said, may the best man win. We're going to step down. We're going to have fun in that ring. We're going to tear the ropes off if we can. And we're going to, you know, we're just going to go there. Both fighters, you know, come with their A game, and let's see who comes out on top, you know.
Ammo, finally for you, we had Ray Ford up here. A lot of you guys turned pro with us when we launched with DAZN here. He was a guy that started slow, you know, and with the amateur style. Now he's sitting down on his punches, being a lot more aggressive. You came out wild out of the blocks. There was no messing around when you turned pro. Do you feel like now you're calming down, you're settling down? You can't just be reckless Ammo as you step up the opposition against guys like this?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest reasons why I turned pro so fast is because I had the type of style that would cater to being a, you know, dangerous professional athlete. So when I came out and I had the 4-round fights, I was more frantic. I was more high pace, high energy to get the knockouts and things like that. But now as the rounds get longer and the opponents get better, I get to really strategically show that I can set up these shots and set up these punches and continue to knock out. Also, I get to show that this is not me being a knockout puncher, me being a finisher is not something I have to grow into. This is something that actually got me signed. I came out of the amateurs and got signed quick because of my dangerous style and things like that. So now y'all get to see over time me just polish that. Y'all don't have to watch me grow into a person that can finish or grow into a person that's willing to sit down and trade and stuff like that. I've been that. I just did it at a faster pace before. So I'm extremely excited to just show that, you know, the dangerous Ammo that they've always promoted in me is real. This is a real thing, and y'all are just going to see me become more dangerous over the course of my career, more fun to watch, more skilled, more seasoned, and just able to have more fun in the ring.
Thank you. Well, it's a big step up for Ammo Williams, one of Texas and US's hot young amateur stars looking to have fun and do his thing on Saturday night live on DAZN. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head here, please.
Williams versus Jones. I don't know. I have a feeling this is going to be a good one.
No, it's always going to be a good one when you got a man nicknamed Ammo. I mean, he's a power puncher, but he's a smart power puncher, and it's always exciting to see how these young prospects that how they're going to react to fighters that aren't going to go anywhere. You know, Jones never been stopped in 12 fights. You know, 9-3. So this is an excellent opportunity for Ammo Williams to show that he's not just all power, that he could be a technician. He could break down an opponent, especially one that has a little bit more experience than him.
Ammo Williams keeping himself in the headlines when he released some sparring footage that sparked a bit of controversy.
That's a no-no.
There.
That's a no-no. That's a no-no. Anyone that knows in boxing, there's a hidden rule that you don't air out stuff that happens in the gym, because whether you're doing well or you're getting hurt, you don't air that out. But you know, he felt bad about it. He actually took the criticism. He said he learned from it. It built character, and that's the thing that makes Ammo Williams such a special young fighter and young man. It's the way he speaks. He's so articulate, but he's a beast in the ring.
But he also sparked a bit of, you know, back and forth between Billy Joe Saunders, right, Josh Taylor, Anthony Fowler, setting up a possible fight. I heard that, you know, Ammo was saying that he was open to fighting Anthony Fowler.
Ouch, not yet. I would say, hold on, young man. I know he wants to prove that he's King Kong and he wants to take over the world. But right now, I think he's best suited doing what he's doing, building his resume. Keep knocking these guys out. 6-0, 5 knockouts, very difficult to do. And if you could put a feather in your hat and stop Isaiah Jonas and be the first one to stop Isaiah Jones, that's a great thing for him.
Well, we have the next press conference about to begin, and we're going to go ahead and pass it on over to Eddie Hearn.
Thank you, guys. We move to the heavyweight division now, the division that everyone's always talking about it. Of course, fresh off the World Unified Heavyweight Championship on DAZN last Saturday night when Anthony Joshua defended his Unified World Championship. Now we move on to Sanchez against Fernandez. It's Mexico against Cuba. A great opportunity for Frank Sanchez to continue his rise in the heavyweight division. We'll start with you, Frank. Welcome, welcome. A huge show to be on. You're doing big things in the heavyweight division, and an exciting fight for you on Saturday.
Frank, estás haciendo cosas grandes. Una pelea importante para ti este sábado.
Sí, es una cartelera bien grande y una oportunidad que tengo para demostrar que soy mejor y vengo con esas ganas. Muchas gracias.
Yes, it's a huge card, and I have the opportunity to be here and show that I'm the best. Thank you so much.
You're being very active at the moment, and you know you've had a number of wins very quickly. Where do you think you sit now in terms of the World Championship contenders?
Ha estado muy activo. ¿Y dónde piensa usted que cabe ahora en cuestión a todos los otros oponentes en cuestión del mundo?
Bueno, ya yo estoy listo para grandes cosas y solo esperando la oportunidad y me mantengo demostrando que soy el mejor.
I'm ready for huge things, and I'm just waiting for the opportunity, and I'm continue waiting for the best and preparing for the best.
Of course, part of Team Eddie Reynoso, and you heavily involved in the Mexican side. You're fighting a Mexican on Saturday night who's going to have great support as well. Do we expect to see an explosive knockout performance from Frank Sanchez?
Es parte del equipo de Eddie Reynoso y va a pelear contra un equipo mexicano con el cual entrena. Pues, podemos esperar ver un gran knockout este sábado.
Sí, claro que sí. Para eso me preparé y a eso vine, a demostrar que soy mejor y la oportunidad que se dé poder derribar al contrario.
Yes, of course. This is what I prepared for. This is why I'm here, and the opportunity to be able to just knock out my opponent.
Well, welcome and good opportunity for you as well. Mexican heavyweights always have massive potential to go on and become huge stars. Massive opportunity for you on this card on Saturday night. Canelo Álvarez undercard. Thousands of Mexicans in attendance and watching worldwide.
Es una oportunidad para ti de poder aprovechar de estar en esta cartelera y poder mostrarle al mundo lo que puedes hacer.
Sí, claro. Primeramente, muchas gracias por esta oportunidad. Y pues bueno, yo soy un peleador que nunca deja de entrenar. Todo el año me estoy preparando, todo el año estoy haciendo sparring. Y siempre estoy listo para una pelea. Y pues bueno, listo para demostrar de lo que estamos hechos los mexicanos.
First of all, thank you. I'm a boxer that always trains, always stays prepared. I'm always sparring, and I'm ready to show what I can do and ready to show in Mexico what I can do.
Obviously, in the heavyweight division, you're only ever one victory away from a huge fight. Victory on Saturday, this platform, against a world-ranked fighter, against Frank Sanchez, would be a huge moment for your career.
Sería un gran momento para ti. Sabemos que en esta división un triunfo puede llevarte a grandes cosas. ¿Qué tan importante es esta pelea?
No, muy importante, muy importante. Y nosotros venimos a ganar. Nosotros no venimos a participar o no venimos a nada más a subirnos al ring a trabajar. Nosotros venimos a ganar. Vengo preparado mental y físicamente. Vengo listo para lo que sea. Y pues bueno, tenemos todo que ganar y nada que perder.
I'm ready. I'm here to win. I'm not here just to participate or to go in the ring and exercise. I'm here to win, and I'm ready to do whatever I need to do to get that win.
Thank you, gentlemen. 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. The big boys go to it. Sanchez against Fernandez, gentlemen. If we can have a head-to-head here, please.
Sanchez versus Fernandez, another exciting heavyweight fight we can look forward to this weekend. How do you see this fight going? Two big boys.
I'm going to say do not blink. Both these guys either knock you out or get knocked out trying. Well, actually, Fernandez gets knocked out trying. And for the Cuban Flash, I mean, he's just so exciting in an era of huge middleweights. Who would think that a fighter that's 6'4" is going to be, you know, a smaller heavyweight, but he has the athleticism, he has the power, he has the backing, and he has this man in promoting him, Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Frank Sanchez has really come from nowhere. I mean, you know, a very talented heavyweight that's moving very, very quickly. I love the fact that we've managed to bring in a Mexican heavyweight,
right,
you know, on a show like this. So it's like, if you were going to try, right, now you're going to really try.
Right.
Because, as I said, in the heavyweight division, one win can completely transform his career as well. And I think you're always crying out for a big Mexican heavyweight, aren't you? I mean, Andy Ruiz did a good job to become first Mexican heavyweight world champion. And someone like Fernandez, if he could get the victory, but he's coming up against a very well-schooled heavyweight in Frank Sanchez, someone that's very dangerous, has power in both hands, top training team as well. It's going to be very difficult for him, but as you say, someone's getting knocked out.
No, but no, touching on the fact that he's fighting a Mexican, he's training with the pound-for-pound best Mexican in the world with Eddie Reynoso and Canelo. So he's getting that Cuban power, the Cuban amateur pedigree with the Mexican style of fighting. It's just a perfect blend, and he gets to display it on the biggest undercard you could possibly think of with Canelo.
Yeah, I think both guys are going to be trying to end this one early.
Right.
To be honest with you. So
don't blink.
Don't blink in this one.
Do not blink.
I'm gonna go again.
I'm gonna take that mic, Ed. Get you, yeah, there you go.
Okay. Right, a little hors d'oeuvre before we go into the main course. Two great trainers here ahead of a massive fight on Saturday night, live on DAZN, the WBC, WBA Ring Magazine World Super Middleweight Championships here just behind us. Two great trainers. We want to speak to the minds behind the fighters. Joseph, I'm going to start with you. Welcome, welcome. I'll start with you. We're going to go to the champion side first, Joe. Massive fight, massive opportunity. These are the nights that since Callum Smith won the WBSS, he's wanted for a long, long time. Strange circumstances for everyone, but he looks in tremendous shape and ready to take this opportunity.
Yeah, it's a fight Callum has always wanted since he became world champion in Jeddah. It's a huge opportunity. You just got to look at the silverware around us. Canelo, ring champion. Callum Smith, ring champion. I think there's only been 16 fights in the history that two ring fighters have fought each other, and Callum Smith becomes the third British fighter behind Ricky Hatton and Joe Kawasaki. So that tells you the magnitude of the event, the fight. It's the biggest fight of the year. You've got two athletes in the peak. Canelo age 30, Callum Smith age 30, and you can see the intensity of Eddie training with Canelo. That's a huge backhanded compliment. They know they're in a really tough fight and they need the best Canelo to show up to be the best Callum Smith, and that's what makes it going to make it a bigger challenge for us. I said before, people say about Callum Smith's performance with John Ryder, but when Callum Smith, when it comes to the big fights, he turns up. Unfortunately, Canelo always turns up, so I think it's about time Canelo has a bad night at the office.
I think that obviously you've been here before with Liam Smith, who put up a great performance against Canelo. You've seen him up close. You feel like you've got the game plan locked in with Callum, and you know what it takes to beat the pound-for-pound #1. I'm guessing you see him as the pound-for-pound #1 as well.
Yeah, 100% Canelo's pound-for-pound #1. You've just got to look at his resume, the fighters he's fought, the challenges he's come, and like I say, he's a superstar of boxing. As far as the game plan, Liam Smith, Canelo, it was a total different fight to what Callum Smith, Canelo was. There's things that we learned that week, being in the corner, being involved with Canelo fight week, but this isn't a normal Canelo fight week. There isn't the huge fans. There isn't the Mexican band playing music. It isn't. It's weird for all of us, and most probably for Canelo as well. He's used to having a huge fanfare of supporters and 50, 60,000 in arena. But
does that suit Callum? Is that good news for us?
Well, I don't know. I think the 12, 14,000 that'll be in there will make it sound like there's 60,000 in there. But for Callum Smith, it's very much like Jeddah. We went over there with a polite crowd there. There wasn't your raucous, vocal fans there where we usually get in the UK or in America. So it's, no, I think Callum's Callum, and the same with Canelo. I think they're both athletes, they're both professional, and they both know that when the bell rings, nothing matters. It's just them two in the ring, and I think that's the same for Callum.
I saw one of your comments, which was you feel that Callum Smith needs to win this fight by knockout. You know, you feel that obviously being over here, you know, in San Antonio, big support for Canelo Álvarez. Is that the game plan? You go into this fight trying to end the fight inside the distance?
I wouldn't say inside this. It was a thing of we've been over American before. We've obviously, like I say, Liam's fought Canelo, Callum Johnson's fought BTBF, Stephen Smith's fought Pedraza, and we know where back at home in the UK, the officials most probably help the fighters a little bit and protect them. Once that bell goes, it's a dog-eat-dog fight. You're seeing Callum Johnson getting hit on the back of the head against BTBF. Pedraza's, Stephen Smith's performance against Pedraza not reflected on the scorecards. So for me to sit at home and devise a game plan to win on points, you might as well take me off to the asylum. Now, that's not the case. We've got to go in there and be primed, loaded. And the same with Canelo. Canelo's an explosive puncher. From a standing position, he's power in both hands. And like you said, this fight can be ended by either or, but the game plan is to win every round, and then that if we've won it well enough, the judges are fair, they do the job. And whilst I'm here, I think this has got to be the beginning of a great rivalry that could end up being a trilogy in this type of between these two fighters.
Joe, we'll come back to you shortly. Eddie, welcome. I know that you're excited about this fight, excited by the challenge. One thing I found when we were discussing the fight, you and Canelo Álvarez, you love a challenge, you love to fight the best.
Eddie, buenas tardes, bienvenido. Primero, sé que está emocionado por el reto, el gran reto. Cuando tuvimos conversaciones, esa era su emoción más grande, este reto para Canelo. ¿Qué sientes sobre eso?
Sí, pues estamos muy emocionados, queremos nosotros seguir haciendo historia, querer enfrentar a los mejores boxeadores.
Yes, we're very excited. We want to continue making history. We want to continue fighting the best opponents.
Sin duda alguna, Callum es uno de los mejores 168 de libras, 68 libras, ha ganado pues varios campeonatos, es un peleador muy peligroso, con mucho talento, pero pues son las peleas que queremos y estamos realmente emocionados de estar aquí con toda esta gente, volver a reaparecer en el boxeo después de más de un año. Creo que es muy importante para el boxeo y más que nada que regrese el mejor boxeador del mundo.
And there's no doubt here that Callum Smith is the best at the 168 pounds, and we want to fight the best. We are ready to fight the best. We're very excited to be here, very excited to see everybody. It's been a year, and we're very excited to be back and show, you know, that we're the best in the world.
Joe talked about the lack of the normality of a Canelo Álvarez fight week. You know, thousands of people, the grand entrance at MGM. We will have 12,000 there, not 80,000 or 70,000 at the weekend. That might be good news for Callum Smith. Are you ready and have you embraced this different kind of environment that we've received through the pandemic?
Yo hablo de la diferencia, mencionó como a diferencia de cuando son 80,000 personas, que está la banda, que está todo el mundo, que ahorita son menos, que son los 13,000, los 14,000 que se van a presentar, que están listos ustedes, porque para Callum él siente que esto es bueno. ¿Cómo lo ven ustedes esto? ¿Cómo les cae esto a ustedes?
Pues realmente aquí va a haber 12,000 personas, pero van a parecer que hay 100,000 porque la verdad los mexicanos somos muy gritones. Todos van a estar abalanzados sobre Saúl. Al final de cuentas Va a estar nada más Saúl arriba del cuadrilátero con Smith. La gente sí influye, claro que sí, para sentirte más arropado. Estamos acostumbrados a estar en Las Vegas, que haya más gente. En esta ocasión estamos más enfocados, estamos más tranquilos en nuestro campamento, aquí en el hotel, previo a la pelea. Y lo que sí les digo es que se van a escuchar como si fueran 100,000 ese día del sábado.
Yes, it's going to be a lot smaller, 12,000, 14,000. However, Mexicans were very loud. We're very enthusiastic. So we will sound as though there's 100,000 there. So yes, it's been very different. It's been calm. It's been quiet. We've been focused on it. We've been staying in our room, focused, concentrated. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's going to be Canelo and Smith on the ring. However, Mexico will be supporting him, and the arena will sound as though there are 100,000 people cheering for him.
Joe mentioned that the aim is to win this fight inside the distance by knockout. Do you expect an explosive fight, and do you believe that your man can win this fight inside the distance as well, and is that the game plan?
Joe expresó que él siente que con la distancia va a poder lograr un knockout. ¿Ustedes piensan que con lo explosivo que es Saúl, que él va a poder lograr un knockout a pesar de la distancia que Callum está tratando, que le va a poner?
Pues va a ser una pelea explosiva. Los dos son dos boxeadores que suelen terminar sus peleas de manera explosiva. Vamos a ver quién logra conectar. Vamos a ver quién logra demostrar arriba en el ring quién es el mejor. Entonces va a ser una pelea, como dijo yo, va a ser una pelea explosiva y esperemos que le guste a toda la gente. Pero lo que sí estoy seguro es que vamos a salir con la mano en alto.
It will be an explosive fight. Both fighters are explosive. So we'll see who connects the best and, you know, try to connect. And as Joe mentioned, they are both explosive. They like to end their fights with an explosion. And what I can say is that we will come off the ring, you know, with our hands up high.
And finally, one question for both of you, Joe. People talk about this as an upset. One could be one of the greatest British victories of all time. Do you see it like that? Do you see yourself as the underdog going into this fight? It's strange, isn't it? The #1 fighter in the division. WBA champion, Ring Magazine champion, but obviously up against a pound-for-pound #1. This would be a huge moment for British boxing if Callum Smith could win this fight and become pound-for-pound #1 on Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. I do feel it's, for the people that don't know boxing, it would be huge. But the people that do but know boxing, I can't understand why the odds are so wide. Canelo, at age 30, is now fighting someone his own age, age 30. And I think this is the first time in his career he's fought someone his own age. They've always been a bit older. Callum Smith is the world champion. We are expected to be the underdog. Canelo Álvarez is a superstar. He's the pound-for-pound #1. And he's not a bigger underdog as what people are making out. So it'll be huge, and it'll be a great success story for everyone back home in England and in Liverpool. Put a smile on everyone's face in the lockdown. But to us, close to Callum, we've always been confident that I've got the right kid here to do the job.
And finally, Eddie, as well. This is your life. You know, we know the saying, no boxing, no life. What does this represent for you, that Canelo Álvarez is a man who wants the biggest challenges? He's the one that wants to achieve greatness in the sport of boxing.
Y finalmente, Eddie, esta es su vida que es no life, no boxing. ¿Qué es con Canelo? ¿Qué es las metas? ¿Qué es lo que ven ustedes sucediendo en cuestión del boxeo?
Pues seguir avanzando, seguir creciendo. Creo que Saúl todavía tiene mucho que dar al boxeo, es joven todavía, está en la mejor etapa de su carrera. Lo más importante que es un deportista al 100%, es un deportista comprometido con su trabajo. Él tiene todavía mucho que dar al boxeo, estamos motivados como nunca hemos estado, más motivados, mejor dicho. Entonces vienen cosas muy grandes. El sábado vamos a dar otro paso adelante a lo que queremos seguir haciendo y pues más que nada seguir adelante.
Let's continue moving forward. Continue moving forward. Saúl is still a young fighter, still a lot to do in boxing and bring to boxing. So, you know, he has a lot to give. We want to continue making history, and this Saturday is going to be huge. And mostly, it's continue moving forward. That's the most important thing for us.
Well, thank you, Eddie Reynoso, Joe Gallagher, two great trainers, the minds behind the men on Saturday night, ready to do battle. Back over to Michelle and Sergio.
Is it just me, or you could sort of sense the tension on the stage? between the two trainers.
No, anytime the trainers get to go face to face, it goes to show you how important they are to the greatness of their corner. Joe Gallagher, a top trainer across the pond, Eddie Reynoso becoming one of the greatest. I mean, those are the brains behind the machine, you know. So it's great to see them getting their attention, for one, and two, to see what their strategy, their game plan, and their temperament is too, because you feed off the trainers, not just the fighters.
Speaking of the strategy, we had Joe Gallagher mention that, you know, they're looking to basically go for a stoppage. And I almost don't blame them, considering how, you know, scorecards have been as of recent. You kind of can't take the risk when you're coming over to someone else's backyard.
No, absolutely. And I think that's the right thing to do, because with a fighter like Canelo, you know, you have to really hurt him. You don't want to put yourself in the position of Golovkin, who thinks he won both fights against Canelo. You actually want to make it decisive. And the only way to do that is to hurt a superstar, to drop a superstar. And if you can get the knockout, absolutely, get the knockout.
Well, we're looking to start the main event press conference. We're going to pass it on over to Eddie Hearn.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sergio. Just want to take this time to thank everybody involved with this huge, huge event. This has been a tremendous end to the year on DAZN. This fight for me is the 2020 fight of the year. When you get the #1 of any division facing the pound-for-pound #1 of boxing, this is very, very special. And I wouldn't be able to make this fight if the fighters didn't want to compete, if they didn't want to chase greatness. And on Saturday night in front of 12,000 people, and I can't tell you how good it will feel to even have that many people back in the arena at the Alamo Dome, you will witness the fight of the year for the WBC, WBA Ring Magazine 168-pound World Championship. And right now I want to bring up two great fighters. Firstly, if we could bring up Callum Smith, WBA Ring Magazine 168-pound #1 fighter in a division, of course, the pound-for-pound #1, multi-weight world champion as well. Please, Canelo Álvarez, can you join us to the stage as well? Thank you so much, gentlemen. Good, mate, you. Welcome. We'll start with the champion, Callum. I've never seen anyone so relaxed in such a mega fight since I've promoted boxing. From the moment this fight was discussed, from the moment that we were negotiating the fight, from even this week in the hotel, super relaxed. Is that because you're in a great frame of mind? You know you're ready. This is your moment.
Yeah, it's just, I'm a relaxed person anyway. I'm quite laid back, but I'm in the position I've always wanted to be ever since I was a little boy, and especially since turning professional. The goal was to always reach the very top, be involved in the biggest fights possible on the biggest stage for the biggest prizes. And I'm here now, so I've got to just enjoy it. There's no bigger fight possible for me. I finally got the fight I wanted, and I'm in a very good place, mentally and physically. I feel really good, and I'm ready to perform. And I'm just excited. I can't get worked up or nervous or anything unless I'm in a position I've always wanted to be in.
Obviously, turned pro many years ago with Matchroom. Many felt like you should have been in the Olympic team. You used that to really drive your success forward. I think one thing that people haven't really picked up on in this fight is I don't think you've barely lost a round as a professional fighter. Obviously undefeated, but you know, obviously the fight against John Ryder was the fight. You did lose some rounds in that fight, but before that, against George Groves, against Hassan and Dam, you know, for the European Championship, against Rabras, against Rocky Fielding, a pretty straightforward career so far to this point.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's what. I always want to be a world champion, and I imagined there'd be a few rocky moments on the way, and I become a world champion and still didn't really know how good I was, and I don't think people knew how good I was. I kind of done it all my own way. I never really had a tough test along the way, and it was more, let's say, credit to myself. I made a lot of tough fights on paper easy, but I sat down and said, well, what more do I want? I've won my world title. Now I want the biggest fights possible. I want to test myself against the biggest names in the sport, and Canelo certainly is that. He's proven he's done multiple weights. He's a superstar. He's the pound-for-pound best, but I believe I'm good enough to compete at that level also. I've proved I'm a world-class fighter. Now I want to prove I can compete at the elite level.
We saw the head-to-head, and you know, as we've seen against Rocky Fielding and Sergey Kovalev, you know, those pictures go global and everybody gasps at the size difference as well. But you bring something very different to this fight as well, don't you? You bring the power, you bring the youth, the experience as well. But difference obviously got to make this size difference play in this fight. But you know, you look at it as an advantage, but no, you have to make it count.
Yeah, I believe so. But I'm not just a big lump with limited ability. I believe I've got skills to go with it. I don't think I believe in being in a position that I'm in now if I didn't have no skills and ability, and tactically I believe we've got it spot on. And I've just got to perform and do exactly what I know I can. And I've watched Canelo over the years, and as a fan, I enjoy watching him. But I've always watched him believing if that was me in there, I believe I can beat him. I've always felt stylistically I've got the style to do it, and I've got a chance to prove it.
Said to Joe as well, obviously this is people talking about a great upset, if you like. To you, is it an upset? I mean, we know that you're number one in the division, you deserve to be here, you deserve this opportunity, but you see this much more as a 50-50 fight than some of the bookmakers?
Yeah, for me, obviously, listen, I like my chances in this fight. I wouldn't call for a fight that I believe I lose. I've been asking for this fight because I believe I win it. I understand I'm the underdog. You know, you look at your social media, a lot of people don't really give me a chance in this fight, but I've been here before. I was the underdog in my world title fight, and if anything, it gives me a little bit more motivation, a little bit of a point to prove my worth, and I believe I deserve to be in this fight. I'm number one in the world. I worked very hard to be in the position I'm at, and now I'm enjoying the luxury of being world champion and being involved in these big fights, which, like I said before, I've dreamed of being in since I was a little boy.
Obviously, you had that experience of boxing around the world. You made your debut in America a few years ago. You boxed in Saudi Arabia against George Groves. You boxed at Madison Square Garden against Hassan and Dam. You boxed in all the big arenas in the UK as well. Do you think that calmness will put you in good stead on Saturday night? I remember when we were scrambling around trying to make this fight, when Canelo said he was going to announce it on his Instagram, I think you went to bed virtually and just turned your phone off and said to Sean and Joe and the team, yeah, whatever, just let me know.
The negotiations were long and mentally draining, but I always just wanted this fight regardless of where it was in the world. I wanted to be in the biggest fights possible, and this always was. The minute I knew he was going to campaign at 168, I knew I had to just keep winning and make sure the only fight that made the most sense was me, and I worked my way to number one in the division, and I finally got that fight. But I'm not here to just be involved in a superstar fight. I'm here to win. I want to remain undefeated. I want to stay world champion. Renato mentioned he's still got goals to achieve in the sport, so have I. I've still got more world titles I want to win, and I believe I'll win another one this weekend.
Canelo, welcome, Saúl. Thank you. This is another big challenge for you. It's something that you live by in boxing.
Así es, ya estamos acostumbrados a los grandes retos. Gracias a Dios tenemos esta pelea en el 2020 que ha sido difícil para todos. Vamos a cerrar con broche de oros con un gran campeón y pues estoy contento, motivado como siempre.
Yes, we are here and we're always ready for great challenges. Thank God we've been able to make this fight in 2020, and we're ready to close out the year with a big bang and close it out, as a champ.
These surroundings are different. No MGM, grand arrival, no 80,000 people. We've seen with Anthony Joshua last week, he actually quite enjoyed being in this bubble, things being a little bit quieter, being able to focus the mind. Are you enjoying the experience? It's very different.
Sí, la verdad que sí, lo sigo disfrutando al 100%, obviamente. No se ve la gente en el hotel, los gritos, las banderas, pero pues es normalmente lo que hago la semana de la pelea, estar en mi cuarto lo más que se pueda, atender a los medios y prácticamente es lo mismo, nomás sin ver gente en el hotel.
Yes, it's very similar. It's just different where you don't see the people, you don't see the flags, you don't see everything that surrounds Fight Week. But for the most part, it's very, very similar to what I do. I stay in my room, focused, take care of media, press, all of that. But it's very similar, stay focused and just getting ready for what's coming.
When I was talking to Eddie Reynoso, one thing that struck me about you and Eddie is you want the challenges. You want to fight the best, and if you look at your resume, in 2020, last year, you boxed Daniel Jacobs for the World Middleweight Championship. You moved up 2 divisions to fight Sergey Kovalev for the Light Heavyweight Championship. Now in your next fight, you fight the number one at 168 pounds. Is this what boxing is all about for you, to the big challenges and fight the best?
Sí, para mí todo lo que me genere, obviamente un riesgo es lo que me gusta. Este es un gran riesgo para mí, para mi carrera, pero también es seguir haciendo historia, ¿no? Callum Smith es el número 1 en las 168 libras, queremos hacer campaña en este peso y pues qué más peleando con el número 1 en esa división, ¿no? Entonces me gustan los retos y estoy listo para seguir haciéndolo y tomar las grandes peleas.
Yes, I like risk. I like taking risk. Taking this fight is a risk. I'm fighting the number 1 at the 168 pounds, so these are challenges for me, and I continue to bring challenges forward, and I like the risk of it. I like challenges to continue making history.
Whenever we see the head-to-head, we saw it against Rocky Fielding, we saw it against Sergey Kovalev, see it against Cam Smith, he's a big guy, right? You know, and does that excite you, the fact you're facing these bigger men? We know you're coming up through the divisions.
Sí, sin duda, ¿no? Ya sabíamos que es un peleador muy alto, pero aparte pues tiene muchas cualidades boxísticas también, que eso lo hace aún más completo. Pero pues con mi experiencia en mi nivel, en mi nivel tengo que adaptarme a cualquier situación y tengo la experiencia y las habilidades para poder sobrellevar esto y sé lo que tengo enfrente, pero estamos listos para esto.
Yes, we do know that he's tall. We also know that he has great boxing qualities, so that makes him dangerous. But with my experience and the level of my boxing, you know, we're ready for this and to continue making history and taking risks like this. This is what I'm here for.
Finally, both of you, Callum, Joe said that obviously the plan to end this fight inside the distance. No, it's hard to come away onto foreign ground and get that win. Is the plan to try and be explosive in this fight and try and do damage within the distance?
Yeah and no, obviously. I've got to disagree. I believe it's never go when I dominate. I win rounds well. I believe I get a fair share at the judges, but every fight I always go in and stick to the tactics, and I always find if I do land, I've got the power to hit anyone in the world, and I believe I'm a good finisher. Over the years, I've always got rid of people when I hit them, so the tactics are always the same for me. I never go in, guns blazing, swinging, looking for a knockout, but it's always there in the back of my mind. I'm always ready. I'm quite spiteful when I get someone hurt, and this is exactly the same. I've got to treat Canelo Álvarez like any other fighter. Go in there. I'm a world champion. I believe in my own ability, and I believe I can beat anyone.
So, a big puncher. You're a big puncher as well. Fans watching around the world on DAZN this Saturday, we're going to see an explosive fight.
Así es, no, siempre salgo a dar lo mejor de mí y pues hablar ahorita aquí pues no tiene caso, ¿no? Siempre cuando suena la campana es cuando se ve la realidad y la verdad es que yo siempre salgo a hacer lo mejor y a ganar por cualquier vía. Si se me presenta un knockout lo voy a aprovechar y si no tengo la experiencia necesaria para poder ganar con los 12 asaltos, ¿no? Pero obviamente siempre ganar por knockout es espectacular y pues obviamente siempre está ahí a la puerta.
Yes, that's what we're here for. This is going to be an explosive fight, a good fight, a very good fight. And if the knockout opportunity arises, then yes, I will take that because people, the fans, always like to see a fight end in a knockout. So if the opportunity arises, I will take it.
Thank you, Saúl and Callum and all the teams as well. This fight, the fight of the year, this Saturday, live on DAZN. Do not miss it. It's been a tough year. I want to thank these guys for coming through and delivering, as I said, the best fight of 2020. The number 168-pounder in the world against the pound-for-pound king, Canelo Álvarez. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head here, and I'll call up both trainers as well.
Sergio, let's talk a bit about the size difference that we're seeing. I understand that size isn't everything, but there is a significant size difference.
No, size is something. It's not everything, but it's something that you have to actually, you have to get on the inside of that big, long reach. And not only that, Callum Smith is a technician. He's a hard puncher. He's an excellent body puncher. So not only does he have to break that range, but he has to watch out for the punches coming to the head and to the body. This is an extremely tough and big challenge for Canelo, but that's why he's the #1 fighter in the world, because he doesn't want to go backwards. He wants to face the absolute best to prove why he's the absolute best.
One of the key words they kept using during the press conference is risk, risk, risk. Both of them taking such big risks back to back, especially with Canelo, who obviously just last fought Sergey Kovalev, always trying to achieve greatness, the both of them. Any final thoughts?
No, the risk, the word that Canelo always says is reto, which is a challenge. And the challenge or a risk, that's exactly what motivates him. I mean, fighters like Canelo usually, fighters, period, they fight down to their competition. It seems Canelo needs to do the opposite in order to fight the best. He needs to fight up instead of down to lower himself.